At first glance, the apartment seemed perfectly ordinary. It sat on the third floor of a quiet residential building, identical to dozens of other units along a narrow hallway with beige walls and dim lighting. The door was plain, white, slightly scuffed, with a standard deadbolt and a fading number plate. Inside, everything appeared normal. A neatly arranged living room with a couch facing a television, a coffee table with a few magazines stacked carefully on top. No signs of forced entry, broken furniture, or disturbance. The kitchen was spotless, countertops clean, dishes dry in a rack, faint detergent scent lingering in the air. The bedroom was undisturbed, the bed made, curtains drawn to let in soft daylight. It was the kind of apartment investigators walked into daily, and usually left quickly. But this time, something made them pause. For several minutes, officers moved through the space methodically. Nothing seemed out of place, until one noticed that something felt off. Not messy, not chaotic, just too normal, as if the apartment had been curated to look ordinary. And as they looked closer, a question formed. How could something so obvious go completely unnoticed? Because hidden within this quiet, carefully maintained apartment was evidence that would change everything. The building was located in a stable, mid-sized urban neighborhood. It housed young professionals, retirees, and small families, people who rarely attracted attention. The apartment belonged to a man in his early 30s who had lived there just over a year. Neighbors described him as polite but distant, someone who kept himself, leaving in the mornings, returning in the evenings, avoiding unnecessary interaction. There were no parties, no loud arguments, no disturbances, just routine. He had never appeared in a police report until a woman went missing. She had been last seen entering the building 3 days earlier. Security footage confirmed she walked in carrying a small bag, glancing at her phone. She never left. Initially, it wasn't alarming. People disappear for short periods, phones die, plans change. But after 3 days, friends reported she had stopped responding, and her workplace confirmed she hadn't shown up for her shift. Her phone remained active but stationary. The last known location placed her in the apartment building. Police canvassed the area and spoke with residents. Most had nothing to add until someone mentioned the man in the third-floor unit. They had seen her knock on his door, and he had let her in. That was the last confirmed sighting. When officers approached him, he cooperated. He admitted she had visited, said they spoke briefly, and she left shortly after. There were no signs of a struggle, no immediate evidence linking him to wrongdoing. The apartment seemed to support his claim. Everything looked as it should, but investigators knew that sometimes the absence of evidence is evidence itself. Officers followed standard procedure on their first inspection. They documented the layout, photographed each room, and noted the condition of furniture and belongings. Everything aligned with the occupant's account. No signs of forced entry, damage, or disturbance. The woman's belongings were not present. No bag, no phone, no indication she had stayed beyond a brief visit. Even forensic sweeps revealed nothing significant. The apartment was clean, perhaps too clean, but there was nothing concrete to justify further intrusion. Still, investigators chose to look again. Subtle inconsistencies began to emerge. The man's timeline did not match building footage. He claimed she left around 8 p.m., but there was no evidence of her exiting. The apartment temperature was unusually cool. The air conditioning ran continuously. Surfaces were spotless, even areas that normally show use like light switches and door handles. There was also a faint odor, barely noticeable beneath the cleaning products. Investigators requested a more thorough examination. The second search was more invasive and focused. Forensic teams applied luminol, a chemical that reveals clean biological traces. Patterns appeared across the living room floor and hallway, faint but unmistakable under analysis. Something had been cleaned, something significant, but the most revealing discovery was hidden beneath the bedroom bed. The bed frame had been slightly moved, leaving faint floor marks. When shifted, a section of flooring that didn't match the rest was revealed. Carefully removed, it exposed a concealed compartment containing the missing woman's belongings. Trace evidence and fibers confirmed she had not left the apartment. The truth had been there all along, hidden in plain sight. Investigators realized the compartment was constructed weeks earlier. The occupant had purchased materials and tools in advance. What seemed like minor renovations was, in fact, premeditation. The apartment had been subtly altered to hide evidence while maintaining the illusion of normalcy. It looked normal, smelled normal, felt normal on the surface, but beneath it lay meticulously concealed proof of a crime. If the initial appearance had been accepted, none of it would have been found. The evidence was overwhelming. The occupant was arrested and charged. His account quickly unraveled. Timeline shifted, details changed, contradictions multiplied. Investigators uncovered a pattern of controlled, deliberate behavior. A person who knew how to appear ordinary, how to blend in, how to maintain the illusion of normalcy. Neighbors were stunned. Many had lived feet away, some exchanging greetings, others walking past countless times, never noticing anything unusual. There was nothing obvious to notice. That was the point. The apartment became a reminder that appearances can be constructed, that normalcy can be staged, that what we see is not always what is there. For investigators, the case reinforced a critical lesson. Details matter, small inconsistencies matter, because the difference between truth and deception is often in what is not visible. The apartment looked normal, and that's what made it dangerous. The truth was not hidden in darkness, nor buried out of reach. It was right there, waiting for someone to look a little closer. And in the end, that's what solved the case. Not a dramatic discovery, not a sudden breakthrough, but the decision to question what seemed ordinary, to examine what appeared complete, and to follow instinct. Sometimes the truth isn't hidden. It's just waiting for someone to look a little closer.